Hi Taurus, we are going to do your monthly reading for April. So this is for the zodiac sign Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Jupiter. Go look up your natal chart. In the description box below, if you pull down a little arrow, you'll be able to see some more text content which has links to free natal chart generators. It also includes a little bit more information about the work I do as an intuitive energy healer and reader, as well as the cards I use and my intention for each reading. So I pick up on the vibration of all the Tauruses that will perhaps be seeing this, experiencing this message, okay? And my soul's intention is to connect out to other souls out there for their healing journey, for clarity, inspiration, guidance, confirmation, which is a big part of what I do, Taurus. You know, confirmation literally is confirming that your intuition is correct. You are on the right path, which is a very big part of the work that I do, working with empaths, intuitives, and sensitives. I'm a big believer that our intuition is our highest source of wisdom, and it is not sought externally. It's actually connected to and found within. And when we do, we connect into the energy of trust and faith, which is completely empowering. It shifts us into transformation, yeah? Monthly reading for April. How are you going? I hope this finds you and your family safe and well in these times. The monthly readings, Taurus, are about the formation of a cross, the foundation of soul purpose, which is the soul purpose cards, what your soul is wanting to learn this month, and the energies you find yourself within, experiencing, the circumstances they're rolling out in, and I'll clarify with some tarot week by week, okay? Take what resonates and leave the rest. Cross. In the recent past, and underneath this is change. Yeah, well, we're all working with change energy, aren't we? You're communicating. So for the Tauruses out there that I'm connecting into, you're definitely connecting into some sacral chakra energy here. The sacral chakra rules the second chakra. It is the seat of our sensuality, our creativity, our point of transformation, okay? So from the base, once we've got our base foundations done, once you've established financial security or where you live or what your plans are and how you're going to feed you and your family this week, we move then into the second chakra, which is about connecting into creativity. And if I truly want to get creative with just limited base chakra energies, I can shift that even further still, okay? So orange invites us into that, but you're also connecting into communicating concepts around creativity, Taurus, okay? Talking about change and what you're wanting to create as far as future plans and whatnot, okay? So change, I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. You're so good at sitting and experiencing sensuality and the senses, Taurus, you know, you do love to experience senses in the moment, you know, food, being, experiencing. However, nothing really changes until we do, until we act. Movement is required, you know, and underneath this is what this month is all about. What change are you wanting to create? Okay, let's see what other energies we're picking up on. I do see I'm connecting to some Tauruses out there that might be working with the energy of regret. It's stuck on your past, stuck on what's happened in the past, okay? But, you know, you're also, you know, there might not even be someone that you're forgiving, okay, or regretting choices you've made from the past. But in the past still, the past invites you into empathy, okay? We truly can't connect into release and forgiveness, which is the opposite of regret, without being able to connect into empathy. Everything you knew, Taurus, everything you had hoped and wished for, every choice you made was ultimately at your choosing that led you to all of the points in the timeline that you found yourself in, okay? I do see I'm talking to Tauruses that are wanting peace when it comes to resolving situations, closing off chapters. They want a peaceful disconnect from their past, or a peaceful empathic understanding of their past choices, past experiences, past whatever's happened to you, you know. And I also feel like I'm talking to Tauruses, you know, because above all this, what crowns you is peace, a deep desire for peace, which ultimately rules the higher heart chakra from a heart-based perspective, we are communicating with the blue throat chakra, the green throat chakra, which is our higher heart in between. We are embodying a higher wisdom of what peace and I can't even speak, how necessary it is right now, Taurus, in order to truly embrace peace as we move away from regret. Be at peace with yourself for all the choices that you have made that has led you to here. Be at peace with yourself for the circumstances you find yourself, that you can actively, creatively change if you want to on some level. Yes, there is only so much that we can control, I get it. But when you get creative, when you choose peace in the moment and really use your imagination, Taurus, that's when you start to sit in the higher view of what is possible. And we start to lovingly release the past. And we have genuine empathy for self and others, for their transgressions, for our poor choices, whatever the case may be, our circumstances. All right? I do feel I'm connecting into Tauruses that are focused on a connection within their life, okay? Or focused on connections. Maybe there's something that you regret about the past. There's connections, friendships, old relationships, old family dynamics that you're really wanting to generate genuine peace within. You're wanting old paradigms to fall away, Taurus. You know, every connection that ultimately connects us to each other, you know, it's the webs we weave. What story have you been playing? Have you allowed to play out? Have you been operating from a place of peace within you? Are you motivated by peace? Are you stuck in regret? When we keep ourselves stuck in regret, it's a very stagnant energy. It's time to use your imagination, get creative in order to implement genuine change. Because I do see I'm connecting to Tauruses here, that ultimately what crowns you is peace. You want peace. As hard as it is to move away from old stuff, old ways of connecting, old realities, in many ways the situation we all find ourselves in, Taurus, is that life can very easily be halted just like that. And when we subconsciously, on a heart-based level, really connect into what that means, Taurus, you know, if life can change so quickly like that, so too can we. If life is so fleeting and the reality we know is so fleeting, then if we really connect into that compassionately, we know that everything in our life is there for a reason to be cherished in the moment. And that even if connections don't make us feel cherished, or we don't cherish a connection, because this is about connection for you, all right? If we're not grateful for the connections that we have, and if people are not grateful for our connection to them, is that ultimately how you want to live? Will you feel like you'll fulfill a life full of regret if you choose to continue that paradigm? What does peace look like for you at this time? You are a being of love and you release all negative energy. And it's going to take a bit of imagination to do that, yes, but you know what? We all find ourselves in isolation with a lot of quiet contemplation time too, Taurus. Change is what's happening underneath this all. Change is your opportunity in April. Some beautiful creative change, and at the center of it is about releasing the past and the regret you have for that, because it ultimately is influencing your creativity, your connection ability, your ability to connect to sensuality and get creative, which is essential to create change, yes, getting out of that base chakra fear of regret so that you can successfully move through the orange chakra and create change. Let's see what the tarot might want to clarify. So week 1 will represent 3 cards. Will reflect you, your situation, how you feel about it, what it's navigating for you, what it might mean for you. Same 2 will week 2, 3 and 4. So I'll pick up each of those tarot cards once I've laid them down for you, Taurus, and I'll link it into the energy of the crux, the cross of this message of healing for you, okay? So this is about you releasing regret, all right? Anything and everything from the past must go. And I know it's easy to say that as an outsider, but the old ways of connecting, relating, having empathy, not having empathy for self and others, you know, whether we chose peace, whether we chose conflict, the opposite of that. This is about how every single connection and person has crossed our life for a reason and taught us, for better or worse, the the truth of those wisdom nuggets, okay? There's been lessons there. Do you want to change? Will you accept change? Do you feel powerless to change? Regardless of what life has looked at like before this time, right up until this point in the timeline, this is your opportunity to truly embrace change. And it is crowned by peace, and it's founded in your imagination. What is the life you see for yourself, Taurus? What is the life you see for you and your loved ones, your family? What kind of connections do you want to keep in your life? What connections will you no longer tolerate? Okay, how do you want to connect? Week 1 of April is very much a judgment call about the realms of love. Okay, the past is relevant here, and I do see when we are sitting in regret, we're always regretting choices from the past, or we're regretting the choices we did or didn't make. Apply that to anything: love, connection, relationships, finances, okay? I feel like yours primarily is what you're moving forward into, okay, is about connection, all right? And this is a very much a time where we are invited to hear the sound of the trumpet, Taurus, when it comes to judgment, when it comes to what emotionally fulfills us, who matters the most, you know? Look at that little family underneath the rainbow. What has happened in the past that's ultimately shaped you? Even going back as far as childhood, when the Six of Cups shows up. I do see here that someone from the past is at play, whether it's influencing your fears and beliefs about regret and whether you choose to embrace peace or not. You're finding it difficult to embrace peace. You're finding it difficult to use your imagination and connect into the creative aspect of your mind that ultimately asks you whether you even want this. Have you been able to achieve it? What is emotional fulfillment to you? It doesn't have to be a happy little family under a rainbow. It can be anything. It could be an old dream from the past that you let go of, perhaps. And even if we find ourselves elevating into this new level of ourselves, maybe old dreams no longer apply, Taurus. Okay? Judgment is here. There's a call to the trumpet. There's a call from the trumpet. We're listening. This is a soul awakening in many ways about what emotionally sustains you, fulfills you, and how far you have traveled when it comes to original goals and game plans from the past. Have you veered off track into the realms of choices that ultimately are fueled now by regret? Have you made peace with the past? Okay. The second week, I do see that some Tauruses aren't perhaps going to be connecting into the deeper lessons of the wisdom here, okay? Because you are juggling concepts around strategic behavior. Whether this is you, whether this is another, you're still juggling what you allow when it comes to this Seven of Swords energy, okay? It might be to do with children, okay? It might be to do with communications from a fire sign. All right, but I do see in the second week of April, Taurus, you're going to very much still be juggling an old world. And because the reason I say old world, this is what I call my narcissistic card, okay? The Seven of Swords is strategic. Take only what matters. Take only what you need to self-sustain. And that can happen. In connection, it is essential that we embrace empathy in order to truly connect equally, in order to truly clear ourselves away from any feelings of potential regret. I feel the second week of April is going to still be playing out some old world conditioning, if you like, Taurus, when it comes to what you allow, when it comes to others' strategic behaviors, others' narcissistic behaviors, lies, selfishness perhaps. Maybe this is you feeling like you need to be strategic and selfish in order to truly nourish and sustain, because I do see there's a closing off of some spiritual healing here and emotional healing. But I do feel the second week of April is going to be challenging in the sense that you feel like you're juggling something here. And it might be something that has transpired 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago, when you hear this message. Or 2 days, within the second week, it might travel for 2 days. It might be 2 days of miscommunication or feeling suspicious about communications you're receiving. Really feeling strategic in your own communications, okay? But I do want to say to some Tauruses, when it comes to integrating the wisdom of this cross that forms a foundation of your month, you know, in order to truly move towards peace, which is what you're aiming for, you know, and create change. It's not about slipping into old dynamics, whether this is us or whether it's behaviors that we allow another to do. Okay, so in order to truly create change, are we entertaining the same old beliefs, same old patterning, same old connections that look like this, that we feel like we constantly have to juggle? What we feel is the peace we're looking for, the empathy and connection, the genuine connection we want, or are we playing some old world dynamics? Okay, because this time really is in many ways for many of us about completely transforming and moving away from the past. This is the tarot that sits under the deck for you. You are moving into calmer waters. This is moving into peace. Keep that at the top of your mind throughout this whole month. In every moment, in every conversation, in every choice, does this feel like peace? Will I regret this if I continue to allow that behavior? Will I regret this if I make that choice? Okay, and this month for you, Taurus, is really about moving into peace in order to genuinely connect into empathy and to be nourished by the connections and friendships you have in your life. The third week of April is about moving away from loss in every sense. There might be some financial loss that you're facing, okay? But you also have the King and Queen of Cups. You might be connecting into a water sign. You might be walking away from the losses that have transpired when it comes to your emotions, because the King and Queen of Cups are the divine counterparts of the waters, and the waters are our emotional bodies, okay? Is our emotional body, Taurus. You might be connecting into a Cancer, Scorpio, or a Pisces. You might have that in your chart. Go look it up, because this is actually a balancing of the masculine and feminine aspects within you, but it is also about the balancing of the masculine and feminine aspects within yourself in order to truly move out of regret, because we can sit in the darkness of our emotion, in the depths of our emotion, and experience regret, or we can be infused with healing of our emotional body and deliver us unto peace. It's like that feeling after you have a big cry. Yeah? Balancing the masculine and feminine aspects of our emotional body. This is also a divine counterpart that you feel emotionally gets you. So if the week before you were juggling this kind of energy, Taurus, your communications, your strategy, their communications that feel strategic and narcissistic, if you're still going to engage this energy, then it just keeps you perhaps further away from this, because I feel like you're dealing with a loss here. What will keep this is being kept away, being locked out of ultimately the house you want to be in. And this house is, it's a feeling, it's peace. And the house we create is up to us when it comes to change, Taurus. The house and home is ultimately formed on foundations that start in imagination, so that we don't have to have loss or regret. We genuinely, harmoniously and lovingly let go of the past and any sense of loss or any sense of risk of loss that we think we might have. That then brings us to the balanced emotional body within ourselves. We are balanced in our emotions. We are mastering our emotions and their potency, because it is in the emotions that ultimately rule the sacral chakra, Taurus, the second chakra, which is about creating change. We will not be fueled to change if we don't feel it. We can have a thought, which is great. We can have an idea about what we want life to look like or who we are, but it's not until we feel it, that we are sparked in our emotional realms, that we ultimately want to push towards change. We will not act. It's about the movement of the elements, okay? Air to water to fire to earth. That's manifestation. That's how change is created. Okay, we start in the air realms, thought. which sparks an emotion, which we create because we're feeling an emotion. Okay, I'm very driven because I desire it, I want it, I'm fueled by love because it's going to take care of my family. You know, we're working within emotion then. And then it's the fire that keeps us going, that keeps that trail blazing, that drives us to keep getting up every morning to fulfill that career goal, whatever the case may be. You know, and it's through that action and embracing those elements, whether it's reflected in the tarot or it's reflected in the elements around us, that we are then able to ground that down with the earth element, the coins. Change, that's how change happens, Taurus. But you must connect it into your emotional body, and it must be balanced. So when a thought or an idea hits you, whether it's a false perception about a connection, whether it's a false way of relating and connecting, okay, you've got a thought, you're motivated by a thought. Is it shadow, is it light? Is it going to lead to regret, or does it lead to peace? When you genuinely connect in to that and let it hit your emotional body, you can go one of two ways. It can go heavy and dark and really fuel regret and narcissistic tendencies of bitterness, jealousy, envy. Or it can hit the emotional body and feel like love and genuine inspiration and desire. All right? Deep, I know. These readings are deep this month. This is divine counterpart energy too. This is someone that you genuinely feel gets you on your emotional level. It doesn't have to be a water sign, okay? This could be what you're embodying and what they're embodying and what you're looking for, Taurus. You are an earth sign, yes, but your emotions are important to you because they ultimately fuel a lot of things. Walking away from not perhaps experiencing that, because there is regret here. There's regret. Maybe you've lost connections. Maybe you've lost that in a connection. Something has shifted and changed. The last week of April very much is about holding fast the sense of optimism that comes with the journey. Just because, you know, when the Hermit card shows up, just because you can only see what's happening right in front of you doesn't mean that there's been a lot of wisdom gained from everything you've ever learned in the past. Doesn't mean that you can't be the light that ultimately casts a light on your future and what is to come. You're very much going within by the end of April and really looking at the wisdom, but choosing to be optimistic, Taurus. You can't quite see it yet. It's not quite tangible. It hasn't quite ground into reality. But you feel it, okay? Because you've been nourished. You've spiritually nourished emotion. So I feel like in many ways, you will be letting go of loss and balancing the emotions in the third week in order to truly feel this. You do end the month hopeful. You do end the month wiser. And I do feel like that second week that I pointed out, the one that looked a little bit tricky, you do master the lesson of that. And you take only what resonates, what you will and won't put up with anymore, what you will and won't engage for yourself and others when it comes to connections, honesty, regret, embracing empathy and really moving into more peace. This is what this journey is about for you this month. It's how you are traveling towards peace within, without, what you will and won't allow that is ultimately peaceful, okay? So that you are the master of change. It is from this sense of spiritual nourishment and balancing that you are truly able to master change. Watch what happens and watch what comes in, because the 2 goes to a 3. Which is ultimately about what is able to be harvested from a month that is ultimately about redefining connection for you, and how there might be some regret in the past about how connections weren't based on peace, they weren't based on empathy, excuse me, they weren't focused on, you know, genuine nourishment of the connection. Because that's what you're looking for. By the end of April, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for spiritual nourishment from the journey to date, from some higher wisdom that you've gained from within. You know, you're looking to nourish everything that's happened to date in order to balance out your path so that you can feel optimistic about the path ahead. From there, and throughout the whole month, you embody the energy of change. You and you alone are the navigator of that, all right? The card at the bottom of the deck, you are navigating that. What are you sailing into? What are you moving towards? When you want change, what do you want it to look like? You are crowned by peace, and this is ultimately what your higher self wants. Okay, so move away from anything that does not feel like peace. And yes, that is even aspects within ourselves. It's the recognition of aspects within others that don't feel like peace. Choosing not to engage, choosing a different way of communicating. Okay? Choosing the wisdom. And I think the next 2 weeks are pivotal in many ways for embracing the energy of this, what's come up in this reading. Okay, Taurus, I hope you found some. And I'm just trying to remember your weekly reading this week. What were you? I can't remember. Maybe your weekly reading ties in here too. Maybe it doesn't, that's why it doesn't link. Because when the energy links, I'll remember and it links in, and I feel like I need to speak about it. Collectively, this week and these monthly readings, you know, a lot of us are really getting to the crux of what and who matters the most, what we want for our lives moving forward, and ultimately how we're reshaping a whole new world, dreams, goals, ways of interacting, connecting, which is what this is about for you, Taurus. Your theme this month is about connections, the ones that have taught you lessons, the ones that are in your life for a reason, the ones that do and don't feel like peace. Okay? I hope this finds you well and safe, and that you've received a little bit of inspiration here with the reading. Okay? Leave a comment below if it resonates. I'll see you next month or in the weekly readings. Thanks, Taurus.